Hi, this is Rich from Science Above, and I've put together these top 5 tips of things to know before you start your AS and A-level chemistry. Number 1, the periodic table. You've got to know your way around your periodic table. There are a number of things that you're going to be using as a second language, if you like, when you get to A-level chemistry. So make sure you know your definition of atomic number, okay, as well as your mass number of the different elements. Know what they are and know what they mean. Also know that, of course, you can get isotopes of those different elements that lead us to have this average mass number, if you like, or our relative atomic mass. So you need to know what that is and how you calculate it. One of the most important things as well is that you know your electronic structure. So you've built atoms whereby you're putting 2 in the first shell, like say 3 in the second shell, okay, to build up the electrons in your atoms. So know your way around these and know how to do them, and of course what that tells you about the position of those elements in the periodic table. So of course the number of electrons in the outer shell or outer energy level tells you the group number of that element, and of course the number of shells tells you the period number. And last but by no means least, know your ions so you can work out your formulae. You've got to be able to do this. You've got to be able to know the formulae of different compounds. So calcium carbonate, magnesium sulfide. You've got to be able to do that. So you need to know your ions and know how to create formulae, because if you get those wrong, you're going to be struggling with all the other things that we're going to be doing in A-level chemistry. So periodic table, number 1. Number 2, structure and bonding. You're going to be looking at structure and bonding at A-level in a lot more detail than you did at GCSE. So it's really important you take through with you your knowledge of ionic bonding, of covalent bonding, and metallic bonding, okay? And those examples that you learned at GCSE. So know the properties of each of these different things, your salts, your ionic compounds in terms of solubility and the physical properties of those, your simple covalent and your giant covalent examples. So things like diamond and graphite, you're going to be looking at those again. And last but not least, of course, metallic, whereby those delocalized electrons account for a lot of the different properties of metals. So make sure that you're up on these notes from GCSE, because you're going to be building on these over the course of this next year. Number 3, redox. Redox chemistry is really, really important, okay? You need to know what redox is. So first of all, that's reduction and oxidation of those different elements. So reduction, you may remember from GCSE, is basically the removal of oxygen, okay? So the removal of oxygen, and oxidation, as life would have it, equals the addition of oxygen. So you may have looked at that in terms of maybe the blast furnace or something, okay? The other way to think about this is oil rig. So you've got oxidation is loss of electrons, reduction is gain of electrons. Now oil rig will suit you fine for the entirety of your A-level chemistry studies, okay? So oil rig, really, really important, holds true all the way through. So if you think back to where you did things like electrolysis, okay? So looking at the movement of electrons from one species to another, from one element to another. So what's been oxidized and what's been reduced. So make sure you revise that, or say look over it before you start your A-level, because redox is coming back in a big, big way. So make sure you know that. Number 4, organic chemistry. So at GCSE, the minimum you would have studied in terms of organic chemistry are, of course, your hydrocarbons, okay? So molecules that are made up purely of carbon and hydrogen. And at the very least, you will have looked at alkanes, where they're saturated, okay? So you've got all single bonds there between your carbons and hydrogens. You probably would have looked at alkenes as well, where we can have double bonds between those carbon atoms, and probably even alcohols and carboxylic acids. Okay, so alcohols have got an OH group on, carboxylic acids have got this COOH group on as well. So make sure you look at these and know your methane, ethane, propane, butane, so on and so forth. You are going to be using that, and it's going to be a huge topic, organic chemistry, when you get onto AS and A2 level or A level. Okay, so know the names of your organic molecules that you've already looked at GCSE, maybe some fractional distillation and your polymers. Basically, everything that you did at GCSE in organic chemistry is going to be relevant and built upon when you start doing your A levels. Number 5, mole calcs, mole calcs, mole calcs. These are probably the simplest and the most complex things you'll do in A level chemistry. The simplest because there are basically 2 calculations you need to know and bring forward from GCSE, and that's the number of moles equals the mass divided by the molar mass, or the mass divided by the relative atomic mass or relative molecular mass of that compound. So you'll be able to use this equation and this triangle here, so number of moles equals mass over molar mass, to get yourself out of most calculatory situations. Okay, you're going to be doing so many mole calcs, and it's going to be linked to every single topic. So number of moles equals mass over molar mass, and obviously being able to rearrange that. The other one, which most of you will have come across as well, is number of moles equals concentration times volume. Concentration is in moles per decimeter cubed. Got to remember that, okay? Volume is usually in centimeters cubed, so you need to do some shifting around with your units here. But again, this is a very straightforward triangle. A number of moles equals concentration times volume. So these 2 equations are very simple, but again, they will get you out of the most complex situations when it comes to the calculations you'll do in A-level chemistry. So make sure you can use these effectively, along with a bit of stoichiometry, so balancing equations and looking at relative amounts, and that will, like I said, get you through any situation you come across in A-level chemistry. So that's my top 5. The top 5 things that you need to look at from your GCSE notes or revision guide before you start your A-level chemistry journey, okay? Because these form the basis of most of the topics that you're going to be looking at in A-level chemistry. Some of them are brand new from GCSE, but like I said, if you've got these and you know these, then you'll be absolutely fine, because we'll be building on them. If you want further guidance on these and you want to look at more videos for help with understanding the principles in AS and A-level chemistry, then take a look at scienceabove.com, where I cover every topic in short, concise, to the point videos to help you understand these principles as you go through your A levels. And there's also past paper walkthroughs on there where I help you apply these principles to your exams to help you with your exam technique, because at the end of the day, you've got to pass an exam, and I'm here to help you do that. So take a look at scienceabove.com and see what I can do to help.